Hey, what's up, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a Switch/Gaming My 2 Cent video for this week, where I take a look at some of the stories that have come out, and I give you my thoughts and opinions, or at least the ones that interest me. So why don't we get started for this week, though? We have 3 stories to talk about, and we'll start with the first one, though. And that is there's a rumor going around that we might be getting a port of a game coming to the Nintendo Switch from Blizzard and Activision, although it may not be the title some people want, though, okay? And the rumor has to be that Diablo 3 could be coming to the Nintendo Switch. Now, this has been picked up by several articles, though, and it was posted on a forum called NeoSeeker, if I'm saying the name correctly. Again, I'll have a link in the description. You can check it out yourself. But according to what this person is posting, though, it's saying, quote, "If there's one thing Blizzard has gotten good over the years, it's misdirection. With fans, sites, and savory fans constantly watching for hints as to the upcoming World of Warcraft expansion, the developers had to get good at filling false trademarks around the world to keep you guessing until they were ready to reveal the true expansion. It seems Blizzard was doing some misdirection in even grander scale in 2016 when they mimicked Nintendo's NX reveal tweet with a Hearthstone innkeeper. Fast forward a little bit more than a year later, and NeoSeeker has learned that the company may be in fact working on something for the Switch, but it's not Hearthstone. This information has been collaborated with by insider Marcus Seller, who broke the news, and I covered this in a previous video, the rumors of Call of Duty Black Ops 4 and its potential Switch port earlier this month, so we feel confident about it. Sure, the pick up and play nature of Hearthstone would make the freemium card game a natural fit for the Switch portable mode, if a bit awkward to play docked. But we've learned that Blizzard instead is looking to bring Diablo 3 and the Lord of Terror himself to the Nintendo's latest console. According to our sources, Blizzard is looking to implement local play with multiple Switch, allowing you to team up for local co-op action as you run around the sanctuary to stop Diablo. We've reached out to Blizzard for comment, but they haven't heard back as of yet. It's suspected that the Switch port would be announced at Nintendo's E3 event, obviously their digital event, since that's where they've been heading lately with it, or possibly by Blizzard themselves at either Gamescom or BlizzardCon later this year. If the rumor pans out, we could look forward to Diablo 3 arriving on the Nintendo Switch at some point in early 2019. Now, it's worth pointing out that this information is considered only a rumor at this time, since there's no official confirmation from either Activision or Blizzard or Nintendo, and giving these rumors, sometimes these rumors can end up being false. Putting that aside, and having said all of that, though, I would be open to the idea of bringing Diablo 3 to the Nintendo Switch. While I've read in other places, and other people have complained about they rather see Overwatch or Hearthstone come to the Switch, which I certainly would not be against, even though I do have some issues with the idea with Hearthstone being that's a freemium game. And alright, folks, sorry for that bit of a pause right there. Apparently someone was asking me something and it kind of sort of disrupted a whole lot of things, so I apologize for that. Just had to answer something and that was it, so apologies about that one, though. So anyway, getting back to what I was trying to do, if I could at least remember it, is basically the announcement of the rumor, or not announcement, the rumor that Diablo 3 could be coming to the Nintendo Switch. And as I said earlier, before that interruption happened, there are people who would prefer to see, Overwatch and Hearthstone come to the Nintendo Switch. And while I'm certainly not against those games coming to the Switch, I'm just curious to see how those games would actually work, given Hearthstone is a freemium game, although on the other hand, Gear Clubs Unlimited was a freemium game. The developers were able to turn that into a premium game, though. And Overwatch, you know, being a multiplayer-only focused game, I'm sure they could figure something out with that one. But personally, I have to say I'm more interested with Diablo 3 coming over than I am with basically Overwatch or Hearthstone. Not that I'm against those games coming over, I just would prefer this game more over those games, to be exact though. And I think it would actually be a good fit for the Nintendo Switch, considering that, you know, the whole portable console thing, and the fact that I think that RPGs in general, whether it's traditional turn-based or strategy RPGs or action RPGs, given the amount of content those games are in, I think those are the games that could really, really benefit for the Switch though. So personally for me, I would rather prefer seeing something like Diablo 3 come to the Nintendo Switch though, and I would be down with playing it though. I never played it on the PC because, again, I'm not a huge PC gamer, though. I'm aware with the issues that the game had when it launched, though, but assumedly Blizzard fixed their problems, and from what I understand, they fixed it within a day compared to what EA did with SimCity and all that stuff. But I did play the game when it was released on the PS3, and I did play the game when it was released on the PS4 as well, and I enjoyed it. I mean, I'm like those type of games, the action RPGs and so on, and I would definitely be down with Diablo 3 coming to the Nintendo Switch. I think a game like that could do well. I know some people are saying like they're just testing the waters and all that stuff, but I think this would actually be a good pick, and I think it would work very well on Nintendo Switch though. I'm aware it's not the game everybody wants. I know some people would prefer Overwatch and Hearthstone, as I said earlier, but this is one I definitely would like. I'm hoping that this rumor is true. I'm hoping that they do bring Diablo 3 over to the Switch. Hopefully it does well if they do decide to bring it over. And who knows, maybe this will open the door for them to actually bring Overwatch over. Maybe it will open the door to maybe actually think about maybe bringing World of Warcraft or StarCraft over to the Nintendo Switch though. But bottom line is, I hope this rumor is true. I hope we get Diablo 3 coming to Nintendo Switch. If it does happen though, I hope it's the complete edition with all the DLCs and updates and so on, because I'm not sure people would be happy with a vanilla version of Overwatch, to be exact. But we'll have to wait and see. But overall, fingers crossed. My fingers are crossed that this rumor turns out to be true, to be exact. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about Sega, which they have announced a brand new entry in the Shining series that will be coming over here to the West, and a recent poll that they did with the upcoming Valkyria Chronicles 4. So we'll take a bit of a break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at Sega, which has announced a new game and recently did a poll for one of their upcoming games though. So why don't we get started with the first part of this, and that's to talk about the new game. So on Wednesday though, Sega recently announced that the Shining series is returning after a decade away, and that's coming to the West. From an article posted on Nintendo Life and several other sites, again, links are in the description, though, the game of the title is Shining Resonance Refrain, if I'm saying the name correctly, though. It points out that the game will launch this summer on the Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and PC, and tells the tale of a sword-wielding Yuma, Y-U-M-A, if I'm saying the name correctly, and his friends as they fight the Empire, though. It's basically another entry into the Shining series, though, and I've played a little bit of those games before. The only ones I remember playing are the ones that were released back on the PlayStation 2 era. I believe it was Shining Force Neo or EX. I don't know which one it is, so apologize if I get the wrong one, if I got the title wrong though. And the other one was Shining Tears. And they were fun games. They were sort of an action RPG type though, so I'm definitely open for this game coming over. I'm glad it's going to be available pretty much everywhere, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. But I'm also glad it's coming to the Nintendo Switch. It points out that the story revolves around characters known as Dragoneers, Dragoneers, who wield Armonics, Armonics, ancient weapons instruments on which they play rune songs. They feed directly into the game's battle mechanics, though. Once you build up enough BPM, battle performance mana, your party will be able to perform a session through the band system. Depending on which song you play and which character you set at the center, your party will be able to indulge in various benefit effects. Certain characters may even perform a song in a special costume. It's also been reported that Camelot Software Planning, the developers of the classic Shining titles, so far aren't going to be working on this title. I don't know if that's 100% sure or not, but we'll have to wait and see. Plus, the pre-orders I think are going live with, a limited edition steel case and so on. So overall, I have to say for this one though, and it put an announcement trailer, I would say good. I'm glad that Sega is digging up some of their older titles and giving them a new life as well. So great that the Shining series is getting another shot for this generation of consoles though. Looking forward to trying the game out when it comes out on the Nintendo Switch, but I'm pretty sure those who have an Xbox One, a PS4, and a PC will probably be pleased as well, since it's coming to their dedicated system as well. And hopefully this will basically open the door for Sega to possibly bring other games of their series to the Switch. I mean, I would like if they brought back the Jet Set Radio series. That would be great as well. So good on them that they are bringing in another entry in the Shining series. Hopefully this one is good when it comes out. Supposedly it will launch supposedly this summer, so we'll have to wait and see. Maybe we'll hear more at E3 and so on. Speaking of Sega, we're going to get to our second part, and that is their upcoming game, Valkyria Chronicles 4. This is a game I'm looking forward to trying out myself, and since I enjoyed the first one with high regards though. I believe I rank it at number 5 as one of my favorite video games of all time, the first one. So Sega put out a poll on Twitter back around February 12th that talks about which platform will you be playing to pick up Valkyria Chronicle 4. It is worth pointing out that about 11,032 people voted on this poll, so it's worth pointing out that this poll doesn't represent everybody who owns a PS4, Xbox One, or a Nintendo Switch, and I'm sure there's a margin of error to these polls. That said, it is interesting what the results from this poll is. So the question Sega asked was, who's looking forward to Valkyria Chronicles 4, if I'm saying the name correctly, on which platform will you be playing the game? According to the poll that Sega ran on Twitter, 36% are saying the PS4, 18% are saying Xbox One, and 46% the Nintendo Switch. So obviously the Switch beats the PS4 by just 10% to be exact. So what do I take from this poll? Well, just for argument's sake, I will say that while this poll isn't 100% accurate, and like I said earlier, doesn't represent people who own a PS4, Xbox One, or Switch, it is kind of interesting to a certain degree. It is interesting to see that obviously people are very interested in playing the Switch version, and of course even the PS4 as well, since they're both close to each other, although the Switch leads by 10%. 10% more than the PS4. Nevertheless, it seems that the audience is there for the PS4 and PS4 and the Nintendo Switch. Xbox One is sitting at 18%. While I'm not saying that 18% represents everybody who owns an Xbox One, and don't get me wrong, it's possible the Xbox One version could do very well when it's launched on that system as well, but it just, at the same time, it almost gives the impression of, why are you bringing it to the Xbox One, where it seems to be there's more people who own a PS4 and a Nintendo Switch are more interested in that one than there is for those who own an Xbox One. Again, I'm not saying it represents all Xbox One owners, it just gives that impression though. But nevertheless, it's still coming to the Xbox One, at least here in the West though. It won't be available for those who own an Xbox One in Japan. Then again, the Xbox One isn't exactly selling that as well in Japan, so you can understand why they're not making it for there though. As a side note, I do have to say though that it is kind of odd, even though I'm more of a console gamer than a PC gamer, I still think it's kind of odd that they are not bringing it to the PC, considering how well the first one sold. Maybe they'll bring it down the road or something like that, but still, I think it's an odd decision. But overall, it's an interesting poll. I'm not saying it's going to mean anything. Ultimately, we'll see how well the game does sales-wise, though. Hopefully it does well enough that they continue with the series, though. But it's still an interesting poll. Glad that there's interest for it for Switch owners, though, at least based on what this poll is. Glad that PS4 owners are still interested in it. Somewhat saddened to see that Xbox One is sitting at 18%. Maybe that will change, but still, it's sort of odd. It's sort of sad to see it like that, though. But overall, looking forward to when the game comes out. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about a comment made by Panic Button. That's right, the same Panic Button that developed Rocket League for the Switch and Doom. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our third and final part of this My Two Cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be looking at several comments made by the development team, or known as a port house though, of Panic Button. For those who are not familiar with them, Panic Button is the same development team that brought us the Rocket League for the Nintendo Switch, and I didn't think they could pull it off, but somehow they managed to make it happen, Doom on the Nintendo Switch. And I'm talking about Doom 2016 on the Nintendo Switch, which till this day still amazes me that they could pull something like that off though. Obviously, it may not be the version for everyone. Keep in mind it runs at 720p 30 frames per second compared to the PS4 and Xbox One's 1080p 60 frames per second, or PC, which could hit 1080p 60 frames per second. Not to mention, I'm sure, depending on how much money you want to spend and what kind of parts you're getting, I'm sure you could hit 4K on it as well. But still, pretty amazing that they could pull it off though. Well, it seems as though Panic Button might have more games in development though for the Nintendo Switch. Let's see, where is that article? Oh, there it is. Outside of the fact that they just recently released a patch for the Switch version of Doom, known as 1.1, which is now currently available to download, which increases average minutes resolution, if I'm saying the name correctly, improved performance, adds multiplayer party, motion aiming, and traditional Chinese language support. It also points out it fixed middleware audio, multiplayer texture, UI input, ban notice, and possible crashes though. So outside of putting out an update for the Doom for the Nintendo Switch, they also were interviewed by Game Sua, or if I apologize if I'm saying the name wrong, Gamasutra, spoke to one of the directors of development at Panic Button, who basically gave some hints that they may be working on more games on the Switch. According to a comment that they said, again, links are in the description of this video, the Switch release has been perfect. It's mentioned in almost all the port requests we receive. To keep up with this pace, we already have 12 Switch development kits at the office. Not yet the platform with the most kits, but definitely the fastest growing trend in our office. In the games we have published, we've seen more sales on Switch than on PS4 and Xbox One combined during the same period. Now every developer wants their game to be on Switch. You know the meme with the dog drinking from a sprinkler? That's me right now. We have some other titles for the Switch and maybe some other games for other platforms in the works. In terms of volume, I'm in this amazing place where as a studio we get to choose how we want to grow and with whom and with what projects though. Outside of basically them working on Wolfenstein 2 The New Colossus, which is their next game that they're collaborating with Bethesda though, we still don't know what exactly they are working on. And personally, I'm glad. I'm open to them bringing out more ports for the Nintendo Switch. I'm aware that not everybody is down with ports in general, though. A lot of people have criticized the Switch as being a port machine, and while I understand that criticism, though to a certain extent, I won't disagree that you can't have ports only to define your machine. I also think ports can be a good thing, as it basically helps sort of not only build your library, but also help one of the things I had an issue with the Nintendo Wii U, and that is the dreaded drought, the long periods of waits for games to come. And by having those ports, it helps with that as it builds up to your big releases, you know, your big exclusives, like we had with Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and so on. So to me, I don't necessarily view ports as a bad thing, and I'm glad that Panic Button is working on some more games coming to the Nintendo Switch. It will be very interesting to see what kind of games they do bring over to the Switch, or what kind of ports they're working on though. Maybe, and again, this is probably a long shot though, and who knows if this will ever come to the Switch. Maybe they're teaming up with CD Projekt Red to bring The Witcher 3 over here to the Switch, or Cyberpunk, I think 2099. Again, I apologize if I get the title wrong though. I mean, again, it's a long shot. We don't know if they're working on that, but there's that possibility as well. Maybe they're looking at bringing Batman Arkham Knights over though. So again, I know a lot of people say that it couldn't fit on the Switch or anything like that, and that possibly is true, but looking at Doom, despite the limitations, and it's pretty obvious of its limitations, the thing I took away from it is that it shows with the right optimization and the right development team, it is possible to pull something off like Doom on the Nintendo Switch though. Now, I'm not saying, as much as I enjoy ports, I'm not saying the ports should be lazy or anything like that. Hello Rhyme and WWE 2K18, although I heard Rhyme's getting an update that fixes the problem finally though. But I'm certainly not against them doing ports though, and I certainly would be very interested to see what else they bring to the table in terms of ports though. And although I would be open if they were to create maybe an original title developed by them. So bottom line is, I'm glad they're working on more games for the Switch. Be interesting to see what kind of ports they bring over. Who knows? Possibly they could be the ones working on the rumored Diablo 3 for crying out loud. So, but we'll have to wait and see. But overall, I'm glad Panic Button is happy. We'll have to wait and see what kind of games they bring over to the Switch. Obviously, they're going to bring over other games to other platforms, but very good indeed, though. So we'll have to wait and see. But overall, good for Panic Button indeed. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinions. What are yours? What are your thoughts about the rumors of Diablo 3 possibly coming to the Nintendo Switch? Would you be down with this though? Would you not be down with it though? Would you have rather them ported Hearthstone and Overwatch instead of Diablo 3? Or do you think you're okay with Diablo 3 coming to the Switch though? What about the announcement of a new Shining game for Sega that's coming to Switch? PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Are you down with that though? Is it something you're happy about, or you're not pleased with them bringing that over though? And what about the poll that Sega did with Valkyria Chronicles 4 though? Do you think this poll seems accurate, or do you think it's like completely way off in terms of which system would you be willing to buy Valkyria Chronicles 4 on? And what about comments made by Panic Button though about the fact that they may have more ports coming to the Nintendo Switch? Are you happy with that? Would you be willing to buy whatever port of a game they bring to the Nintendo Switch? Or you wouldn't be willing to do that at all? And do you think people are taking the whole Switch being a port machine a little too seriously, or do you think it is spot on and they're right about that criticism? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to. And, of course, feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal Me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then.